stuff.
Until
Then you go get
yep.
more lobsters and repeat.
Now, in that sense, did you do things like supply and demand? Did you just try and sell it for like a little below what everyone else was to try and make that quicker profit? Or did you just stay at some stable price? Like, what was your
Generally,
stance?
I didn't really focus too much on what everyone else was doing. I would generally make it so I would make a certain amount of profit every time I did it. I just did it for myself, so
As long as it was within like reasonable means for making you some money out of it, kind of thing.
yeah, even if I have to sell it less than I wanted to,
Yeah.
because it would be more competitive.
But
as
you'd
long as it
still
made me
make
money.
profit, right?
Yep.
Just that pure idea of making profit. No one ever cared about profit per hour. Profit per hour. No one ever cared about experience per hour. No one ever cared about I can make $12 billion a day.
I mean, I'll guarantee you, in the first 2 days of Grand Exchange, I made much more money than I did old merching, and it was far more efficient. But it's not worth it.
It's not fun.
You don't. It's not fun. Not at all.
Games are supposed to be fun. Even the crazy money aspect of stuff of buying a virtual lobster and selling it. It's supposed to be fun. Why are you playing a game and you're not trying to have fun? It makes no sense to me. I have this crazy notion that games are supposed to be fun, and it's a new concept for some people, and it's kind of weird.
It's quite radical.
I know it's a radical. I'm like Einstein, playing video games for fun. It's crazy talk. But I just mean merchanting back in the day was fun. It really was.
When you sold something back then, you were glad that you did it, and you were proud of yourself.
Because you went through work and like actually effort to do it. You were better than the 5 people around you selling lobsters because yours actually sold and they're still standing there selling lobster. You know, sure. Would you like to buy a lobster? For how much? Yes, Mike. No. Go buy them from Trinity School. So
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah. You know,
I
just
never did.
all this stuff, actually, it was gratifying. It was like, I actually can't, compare it to
You
anything
can't.
these days because there's just nothing like it. Going to the GE and, okay, I bought 10 lobsters over the course of 8 hours for this 10K lobsters over the course of 8 hours for this much, and I sold it over the course of 6 hours for this much, and oh, look, I made profit. Yay, I'm a badass. Like, no, that's not fun.
It becomes more of a side thing with GE.
Yeah, it
And
becomes, I'm going
like,
to log on for 15 minutes a day. Before, you would spend entire days, and by that I mean like 12 hours, because you were a total fucking nerd, and I love you for it, but you're still a nerd. And you just totally nerd out and just, merchant all day. That would be your thing. That would be your moneymaker. You'd sit there selling and buying and buying and selling, and yeah, okay, you can do it in World 2 now, but that's all with fake prices, and it's dumb. This is about finding good deals, people who want to get rid of something fast, and instead of going to the GE and selling lowest, they'd actually just go to people and like, okay, you know what, I've got this Guthix page, it's totally worth 80K, you can have it for 30. Really? Sure. Awesome, and then you'd go and not care about how long it took to sell it and sell it for 50K. Hey, look, you just made 20K profit. That's awesome. That was so enjoyable. You're like, oh, yeah. Like, it was kind of a rush back in the day to just sell something like that because it was fun.
Yeah.
So, I guess in that sense, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen now with they're keeping the G and everything. That's different.
Which I'm also glad.
I'm glad yes, I am glad they're keeping it because it's such a useful tool for many reasons. But at the same time, it kills the heart of merchanting because you do have the ability to go get something instantly.
Yeah.
Or without effort of standing in a bank or going on forums, which really back in the day was all... Like, forums actually existed back in the day. I know you've never been on forums. I know none of you are like, oh my god, we have forums for, like, buying and selling things and people use those. What?
Well, I used to... Yeah, before GE, I used to use them. Just find people selling...
Everyone used forums back in the day, because that's how you... Because, like, before, it was, I'm going to go to Camelot Bank. People would stand at Camelot Bank. People would stand at Catherine. People would stand at any possible bank that possibly existed and sell and buy things, because that's just a place where 5 more people than, north of Catherine Bank were standing, and that's 5 people that could potentially be buying or selling something that you wanted or wanted to buy. And you just totally do it up right there. And in case you didn't want to do that and you wanted to go to a larger audience, you'd go to the forums and make some really attractive thread. Selling the God swords, which haven't actually come out yet, for cheap. I don't know. But you just make some really attractive looking thread, and hopefully it would not lure people in, but like entice people to go look at it. And, people would actually go look at it, because that's awesome. That's totally what you want. And you just go do that, and it was really nice. Like back in the day, I had a friend, and he was training herblore. This is the wacky story that Trin was talking about earlier. And he's like, okay, you know what? I just want, like, give me 1 mil out of all these pots. It was like 2K pots, and he wanted something like 75% of what they were actually normally worth. And I'm like, well, I'm going to try and, get these for as much as they are not even really worth. I'm just going to try and get every last little bit of money that I can get out of these. So I went on forums, and I thought about it. And I opened up a little kind of commercial shop for them, and I had selling anti-fire pots for, I forget what the price was back then. It was something like, I think I sold them for like 8K each or something. Like, it was ridiculous, but back in the day they were only 4K, because who the fuck wants an anti-fire pot? Why would you ever go fight a dragon? God, those things are hard. I'm level 67. Those are hard, man. I've only got like 40 strength. What you talking about, boy? And oh yeah, back then people, God, with like Soul Wars and everything, things would become so crazy, because having 70 strength back in the day, 70 range, 70 magic, like just
that was an
70s,
accomplishment.
You were fucking badass. If you were a pure even, that was a badass, but if you were a pure with like 70 strength and range, holy shit. You are the shit, bro. You are just some new kind of badass that hasn't been, discovered yet. And I think that's fucking awesome, because now you go to Soul Wars and, okay, everyone watching this is going to be like, I totally legit Soul Wars, yes. Okay, no, you didn't. You botted it. Now there is like 0.1% that did actually legit Soul Wars, but, a lot of people didn't.
I do respect those people that managed to get 99 hit points at combat 25 or something. That's pretty extreme.
Back in the days of like pest control and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like getting 99 in defense before, people did that with pest control. That's why Defiled was so. Now I have nothing against Defiled. I have nothing for Defiled. Just using them as a character. That's how they got 99 defense, was pest control, and that was fucking hard. Now, admittedly, pest control back in the day was probably
much better.
2 times the equivalent of what Soul Wars is now, if not like 3 times.
But even still, yeah.
Even still, it was one of those things, like getting a torso. Not many people had torsos. If you saw someone with rune gloves, you're like, holy shit, you are a bamf. If you saw someone with barrows gloves, you're like, holy shit, no lifing, piece of nerd, profanity, derogatory word, 1, 2, 3. Like, that was just unheard of for someone to have barrows gloves. Are you kidding me? Dude, I remember this one guy. He was like, God, I can still see his name in my head. I can't think of it right now, which is kind of awkward and will sound weird to some people. But it was like King Lee Yan or something. And just back in the old wilderness, he would always be running around full, like, skulled, in full Darox, fire cape and barrows gloves, rune boots, just all that stuff. Because dragon boots are a new thing. New for me, not for you. They've been around since you've been playing, but they're new enough. And climbing boots were 5 GP. Oh my god, okay, you knew about that. But just stuff like that. I'd see him with barrows gloves and a fire cape, and fire cape was kind of commoner for higher levels, but still wasn't common, because they're higher levels so they can get the fire cape. Yeah, but, fire cape just wasn't something that a lot of people did. And by a lot of people, I mean a lot of fucking people. Not, a minority of PKers. Out of the massive population. So, if you saw someone with barrows gloves, that was like, oh my god. Who would ever be able to muster doing 180 quest points worth of stuff, let alone with the graphics they had back then? Now, don't get me wrong, the graphics were lovable. But quests are a lot more bearable with good graphics.
Yes, they are. Underground Pass, dear God.
Back in the day, dude.
Crap.
Oh, another fun fact. RFD gloves didn't always exist. That actually was not the first quest made by Jagex. I know, right? Crazy! And combat bracelets were a new thing. I remember when combat bracelets were like 75k. Because glories were 100k, dragonstones were like 95k or 90k, because every skill back then was profitable. I'll talk about Herblore later, which is totally going to blow your mind, and you're going to, like, just stay with your blown mind for a while, because you're just going to be so blown, and your mind will be like...
That was That was a great metaphor right there.
I know. Thank you, Trin. I appreciate it. I totally lost what I was talking about. God.
Herblore.
No, before that.
Oh, RFD gloves.
There we go. RFD goes. Combat Breath were like 75k. And Clank's Gauntlets. A lot of people don't remember this. Clank's Gauntlets were actually the best glove for PKing back in the day because it had 2 strength bonus. Nothing else had a strength bonus. No, I think the Steel Gauntlets, this is later because Family Crest came out later, but before RFD.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it did. The Family Crest gloves also gave a small strength bonus. On the Steel gloves, I think, it had like +1 or 2.
Something like that, yeah.
But the point being, it had a strength bonus, and Clank's Gauntlets had a strength bonus from the Underground Pass. So if you PK'd with those, well, you're some smart motherfucker because you can hit higher now, and you totally, can hit higher now, and everyone else is using, leather gloves and a whip and full rune and rune boots and stuff, because that's all that was available. And now it's just become everyone has barrels gloves and combat bracelets are 20k and all this other stuff. I don't know. I find that really interesting.
It was a lot more. People had distinctive styles back then.
Yeah, because that one guy, if I ever saw someone in full Darox with a fire cape and barrels gloves, it was always that one guy. Always.
Yep.
It was never anyone else. No.
People have set classes to use at this point, I should say.
Yeah.
You always have that one guy using the whip Vestalong, or I don't know,
fair enough.
Like you with the anchor and the Granite Maul, or not Granite Maul. Yeah, that's it. I'm saying, it's fun to watch and everything, but I'm sure other people do it too. So.
Everyone's done that before. Oh my god, dude! When I was on Nathrezil, which is my really old main, really old. I don't play it anymore. I'll probably play it again once Old Wilderness comes out, just to do that. But just point being, before it was just quote my old main. And the thing about that was that when I PK'd on him, I had 70 range, which was okay, you're a badass. You got 70 range. Oh, you can use Black D'hide and stuff like that. You're awesome. And I'd go with full Darox unskulled, so I wouldn't be risking Darox because I was poor, man. I'd only risk 300k with Darox set, but I'd make profit because I did get more kills than deaths, which means I made profit by the end of the day. So it was fun for me. Point being, I started. No, I can't say that I started something. It was back in the day that I very well could have started it, but I really doubt it. Now, this was without the Avaz Attractor, too, because back in the day, people didn't have an Avaz Attractor. You actually had to go and pick up all your arrows. Oh my god! I know, right?
I remember those days.
Dude, you go PKing, and you'd be birding with a magic short, and by birding, I mean you click Ice Barrage when they start running, and then you continue to range them when they not. Because no one prayed. No one actually prayed overheads.
Everybody trying to tank it. Yeah.
Everyone was... And now that's kind of an honor thing, yeah, but at the same time, it's just kind of there in general, right?
Yeah.
It was just a thing. People, if you prayed overheads, that was totally no honor, and that goes back to the whole PJing thing from before, right? That was just a no honor thing that people didn't like you for. People would hate you if you did that, and people would totally just do bad, terrible things to you if you did that because you were being a no honor little bitch.
I believe it was the same thing with safing too. If you went anywhere near over half health,
yeah, no one saved back in the day. And now you see that is acceptable too, because before, back in the day, the only, and I do mean the only thing you could do is spam click a shark and hope you live. That is the only thing you had the option to do. That's it. You just click that other shark and hope they don't hit over 21 because you are going to die because you have 1 health. Which is just its own little thing there. But now, with so many new power weapons and so many new combo foods, that the damage per